If you've ever felt guilty or ashamed of having a tough relationship with your parents, this conversation I had a few days ago with one of my friends, it helped stir the pot of your thoughts. My friend was struggling with whether or not she wanted to see her dad for the holidays. They were ignoring their dad's calls, and he's from out of town, so this is like one of the rare opportunities that he gets to see his daughter, that she gets to see him. I wanted to share something that I learned about myself and my relationship with my own parents. Before I get into it, I am 28 years old and I've had a rough relationship with my family over the years and during my time just growing up as a human being. I ran away a lot and I used to curse my parents. I used to hate my parents too, but even more so, I really hated myself growing up because I grew up with a lot of skin diseases and illnesses that took me out of school for months at a time. I barely graduated high school. And so I had a lot of internal hate within myself and the world and towards my parents and just my whole situation. Growing up, I also used to say that my mom was always over emotional and my dad was very logical and robotic. So I kind of got the extremes of both worlds. And because of that, it kind of forced me to find a middle path and I guess you could say find the balance or the connection between those two extremes and understand emotional intelligence in a different way. So I'm grateful for my parents there. In that journey, I developed a lot of hate because I just didn't have a role model of balance. I also ran away a lot when I was younger because I felt like I could never amount to the expectations that I had on me. Not just from my parents, but just societal expectations. I was an Asian kid. I'm still pretty young, 28, but yeah, I was an Asian kid. I wasn't doing good in school because I was sick all the time, and I can't control that, but it's one of the things that just really made me hate myself because I can't even feel good enough or healthy enough to even go to school to do good in school in the first place. So I was just constantly punched in the face with all of these insecurities and all of these doubts and all this imposter syndrome and all of this self-comparison to my cousins. I just hated myself and I hated my parents. I hated the situation that I was in. I even tried killing myself at 17 because it just got way too much for me. And I spent 5 days in a mental institution. But fast forward to today, 11 years later, I've done a lot of healing, a lot of self-reflection, and a lot of inner work to understand the deeper dynamics of why my relationship to my father and my mom and my parents overall is the way it is and played out the way it was. I can see the beauty in how it all played out now. And I also understand the dynamics of my own consciousness now too, and why my psyche played out and reacted to certain things the way it did in the past. But what I told my friend, especially with my father, is that now at this point in my life, I've learned how to appreciate the landscape of the dynamic of my relationship to my parents and especially my dad. I've been reflecting a lot on the death of my parents. My parents are still alive. But lately I've been reflecting a lot on the idea that my parents are getting older. They move a little slower. They are a little bit harder of hearing. I can see their health deteriorating over time. And they're still young. I have fairly young parents compared to other people that I've seen, but still, it's like I'm starting to see the mortality of my loved ones and be hyper conscious of that. And so now I've learned how to appreciate the landscape of, I say landscape because within a landscape, there's different flora and fauna. There's different types of biomes in the earth, right? In nature. You have desert areas, you have forest areas, you have places around water, places with heavy greenery, you have places that are usually covered in snow all year round. There are different biomes in the world, and there may be biomes that don't exactly fit what you like, but it doesn't mean that you can't appreciate or see the beauty in the flora and fauna of that particular landscape. And so at this point in my life, I've learned and am still learning to appreciate the landscape of my relationship to my dad and my family overall. For example, with my dad, I've realized that I can't connect to my dad in certain ways that I would like to, that I've learned how to do with other friends or connections that I've made with other people in my life. I just can't have that with him, and I've learned to accept and love that and realize that that's okay. I don't need it to be a certain way. For example, maybe I can't have a deep philosophical conversation about life with my dad, but I can have a conversation with him about anime. I grew up watching anime or sarcasm. My dad's really sarcastic, and I'm not by nature a sarcastic person, but I've learned to appreciate that as my dad gets older. And again, this may seem really depressing or dismal, but I think it's actually really important to contemplate the idea of death within your own experience, within your own death, but also the death of loved ones. I like to do these kind of thought experiments in my head that kind of make me more present with what I'm experiencing right now. And so, when I think about the death of my father or the death of my mother, it really helps me appreciate the little things. And just because you can't connect with your parents in a way that you may wish to, it doesn't mean that there isn't love there. Another example is that my dad loves to cook food, and so I'll connect with him and tell him how much I love his food when he makes it. He shows love in different types of ways. We all have our own different types of love languages, and so it also helps to be able to see like what is the language of love that my parents have that they're used to that I may not have been able to understand growing up, but now I'm able to see those things. Mind you, I'm 28, and so this is after 28 years of experience. And also this advice may not be for everyone. I'm sure there are people out there who have much worse situations than me, but I'm very blessed to have a family that, and we're not a perfect family, we've had our ups and downs, but I've really learned to, again, see the beauty of the flora and the fauna of the landscape. We all give love in different ways, whether it be with our significant other or with our family members. Thank you guys for listening. I wanted to share a little bit about how I kind of went about navigating healing my relationship to my parents at 28 years old. So I hope this was helpful for you in some kind of way. I know we all have different stories and different backgrounds, but maybe there was something in there that you could take home. Let me know in the comments something that you've done to heal your relationship to your parents. I'm sure it would help a lot of people out too. And also, if you guys want to ask me any questions, you can leave them in the comments, or you can message me anonymously on Telenym. I have a link to that in my description. I find that sometimes it's easier for people to reach out when it's anonymous. In the past, I found that worked very beautifully, and I've been able to have some really cool conversations with people I don't even know their face or have seen their name at all. But I don't know, sometimes that anonymity, it's very helpful in helping you be more raw with the question that you ask. So, damn it, I dropped my thing. Oh, one last thing before I go. If there's any topics that you'd be curious to know my thoughts about, leave them in the comments below, and I can make some videos about it. Your feedback and your comments really help me figure out the shape and the direction of this YouTube channel. This channel is not just about me and my creativity and my expression. It's also a place where I want us all to collectively grow together and explore these ideas, these topics, these questions, these problems as a community in some kind of way. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you like I love myself, and I'll see you in the next one, whatever that is.